I understand that back in the World War One, back in those days, they wasn't called Victory Gardens at the beginning. What were they called?
War gardens.
War Gardens. As time went on, then they changed it from War Gardens to Victory Gardens back in World War II. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, trying to encourage everyone to take a part to grow food. Right.
And most everybody did that could do it at all.
Even the poorest of the poor. Right. Food. Grow as much as you can, as often as you can, and as long as you can. Hi, I'm Annette, and welcome to Kitchen Garden Farmhouse. Today I have a very special guest with me, Mama. Well, hey Mama, it's so good to have you in the garden with me this morning, and I know you've been down sick for a long time, about 6 months, but you're feeling so much better now. There's been a lot of people praying for you on YouTube and asking about you, and that was very kind of them to take interest in your health and your life, and for that we're grateful.
Yes. I want to thank everyone for their prayers and thinking of me through all of my sicknesses that I have went through. Thank you, Lord.
So Mom, now springtime is here. A lot of people are going to be planting their favorite vegetables and starting their spring gardens, and I noticed you had this book out recently, looking through it, and is there something in that book that interests you?
Yes, I want to grow one thing this spring, and I want to grow giant tomatoes in a pot.
All right, so let's show them what you're going to be growing. This right here is what Mama's interested in growing this year, these giant tomatoes, and she's very excited about it, and she's going to be doing this very soon. She's got to order her seeds first. So Mom, you haven't got the seeds yet, so you got to make that phone call and put your order in, don't you?
Yes.
So what have you...
Probably take a week or two for it to come. It'll be in a plant.
Oh, it's going to be a bare root, so it won't be like a seed. So
No.
you have oh, well, that's great. Yeah, so it'll give you a little bit of head start since it's going to be coming like a little plant. How many plants will it be?
3.
3 plants. All right. So so you'll need like 3 containers or 3 pots? Does it come with the pots? Do you have to
No,
buy your
I've
pots?
got to order them separate.
All right. So you're going to be...
They have some on the next page that I'm going to order.
Okay. All right. So you'll be growing...
It's a grow bags.
Oh, grow bags. All right. So 3 grow bags and 3 tomato seedlings. Well, we're excited about that. We'll have to let everybody know how you're coming along and do some videos about the growth of your tomatoes, and just share that with them as time goes on.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting. So now, Mom, gardening is not anything new to you, is it?
No.
Tell us a little bit about your gardening experience down through the years.
When I was younger, I growed a lot of gardens. I growed all kinds of stuff in my gardens, and I would pick and gather and put and can up stuff and put stuff in the freezer. So I'm well experienced with gardens. Having gardened when I was younger.
Did you have a favorite thing that you liked to grow back in those years, or?
Not really. I just growed everything. You name it, I growed it.
Just trying to
I just had a big garden.
Yeah.
I've got movies of my garden that I used to have.
Just trying to do your part, putting some food on the table.
I just like to do that.
Yeah. Right. Mom, God has blessed you with a long life. You're 90, going on 91 now.
Yes.
And for the most part, when you're feeling good, you have pretty good health still. And, you know, that's a blessing to the family. But you were born back in the Great Depression, was it you?
1933.
So back in those years, that was well before my time, but I understand that Victory Gardens, which is something that we hear about a little bit here and there, but not like it was back in the years of the war. So I understand that Victory Gardens started with World War I, and then it continued through World War II. Now during World War II, you was born at that time, so
I was probably about 10 years old when the war started in 1941.
Yeah.
9 or 10, somewhere along there, and I well remember it.
Those were hard days, wasn't they, Mom?
Yes, everything was most everything was rationed. We had ration steps, coffee and tea and sugar and stuff like that was rationed. You could only buy so much in a month time, and you usually always ran out. So they started up wanting everybody to grow victory gardens in their yard if they had any space at all.
Well, now I understand that you and your mom and your siblings didn't have any space at all to grow a garden.
No, we didn't.
But you took a part in the victory garden by selling seeds, didn't you?
Yes, my mother ordered seeds for me, and when I sold them all, then I could pick something out of the calendar, a catalog rather, to get, and I picked a guitar. I was wanting to learn to play a guitar.
So how did you sell your seeds?
I went from house to house selling them in the town that we lived in, and there was one girl that her family was very wealthy, and she bought a lot of seed from me. And I sold all my seed and sent them. My mother sent the money in, and they sent me a guitar.
Now, you had told me a story that the house you went to that was very wealthy, the girl that answered the door, she always had a pocket full of change.
Yeah, she was always looking for me. She always had a pocket full of money.
So back in those years, if you had a pocket even full of change, that was a lot.
Yeah. Change was worth a lot, even change.
So as time went on, people continued to have victory gardens to grow food, to be more sustainable, because if they didn't grow their own food, they had pretty much done without, didn't they?
If they didn't grow their own food, there was a lot of things they had to do without. That's why nearly everybody did it back in those years, because they wanted to have plenty of food to eat.
Right.
Different things.
Yeah.
So they growed in their yards. It was called victory gardens.
Yeah. And so instead of having beautiful yards, they turned their yards, and I understand even their flower gardens, they just turned it into a garden plot. Any place they could find in their yard, they turned it into a garden plot.
I was about 13 years old when I sowed the garden seed.
Yeah. But now you got a guitar for selling so many seeds through the Victory Garden Seed Supply. But then, what happened on the Mississippi River? What happened to that guitar?
Well, I was going to visit my dad, and he lived in Mississippi, and there was no bridge across the Mississippi River. We had to ride a barge over to get on the other side, and there was a couple of young men on the barge, and they seen my guitar, and they asked me if I would sell it to them, and so I sold it to them for $3.
So your guitar was sold for $3 on the Mississippi River.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I never learned to play that guitar, but I learned to play other guitars later in life.
I wonder if they knew that guitar was brought about by working hard.
They probably didn't.
Going from house to house. Now, back in those days, Mama, probably the roads were dirt roads, and you just went from house to house.
Yeah.
How far did you have to walk? You know?
A long ways. We were used to walking. And back in those days, we either walked or we rode a bus wherever we wanted to go.
Yeah, right. And
I think we rode a train one time.
So you would just go up and knock on the door and introduce yourself?
You could do that back in those days, and not be afraid of anything.
It's different now, though, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Right.
You couldn't do things like that now.
So, do you feel like people should still try to grow as much food as they can?
Yes.
In the days that we're living? Even though there's still food on the grocery stores.
It's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Life is constantly changing, and even though we can go to the grocery stores today and buy food, we don't know what tomorrow holds or next year holds. And we don't know the day may come that we might have to rely on going to our own backyards, getting some of our food to make our meals. So. Now, growing a garden is more than just going out there planting seeds, isn't it, Mom?
No, it's a lot of work to it. You got to tend to it when it needs it.
Yeah.
Even a day without it being tended to can make a big difference.
You have to keep your eye on it.
You can't keep it watered.
Right.
Keep it hoed.
Watered,
keep the grass out of it.
Yeah.
Keep it fertilized.
But now you're going to grow your tomatoes in containers.
Yeah.
So now you won't have to hoe.
No.
Right? That
No.
takes So growing in containers is a great way to grow some food in small spaces, and really you don't even have to pull weeds.
Well, if there's any weeds growing in there, I'll pull them.
Right. So you'll have very little or no weeds in your containers, and no hoeing involved. And then you'll have to have some great tomatoes coming along, put on the dinner table. So we're excited to see how your tomatoes will be growing, and how everything will be coming along. So, Mom, let's get back to the Victory Garden for a minute. So I understand that back in the World War One, back in those days, they wasn't called Victory Gardens at the beginning. What were they called?
War gardens.
War gardens. And then as time went on, then they changed it from war gardens to Victory Gardens back in World War II. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah, trying to encourage everyone to take a part to grow food. Right.
And most everybody did that could do it at all.
Even the poorest of the poor. Right. Yeah.
I encourage everyone that can to grow a garden, or even just one thing in a container. You can grow things in containers nowadays. It don't have to be in the ground. When you have a satisfaction of growing something for your own use, and you'll be able to eat what you grow.